Hello there friends and welcome! For today's Pathfinder guide we have at last our INCITER SKALD build, the new best Skald. Skalds have always been amazing because they can provide multiple party-wide buffs that no other class gets, by sharing the barbarian rage powers with your party members. But the INCITER is that, but even better, because you have more bonuses including sharing sneak attack party-wide, even the advanced rogue talents, for auto-dispelling and draining enemy stats on all party members' attacks, and the debuffing aura added on top of your main Skald ability. And while Skalds excel at party buffing, fear not, because they aren't just a one-trick pony, they are also amazing at combat, with enough versatility that you can specialize in melee attacks, spells for crowd control, or ranged with throwing axes. And you'll be going with the AZATA mythic path, although personally I do still prefer TRICKSTER, for something new and the fact AZATAs are also one of the best buffers, especially through their Believe in Yourself spell, which provides bonuses no other mythic path gets for allies. This is how you achieve enormous stats with your INCITER SKALD, even higher than 70 strength and 60 constitution. As with AZATA you get a plus 12 to all stats. So without further ado, let us get into our INCITER SKALD AZATA build. First with the core mechanics of the class. And well, I've already explained most of it, but once again, Skalds excel at providing party-wide buffs you can't get anywhere else, from the Barbarian Rage powers for higher AC, through Beast Totem, even the Pounce special ability, through Greater Beast Totem, higher bonuses to attack rolls from Lethal Stance, also their Inspired Rage ability, and by the way, while this does block spellcasting, every character in the game starts with the Inspire Rage Accept Effect ability, so it's just a matter of turning it off for the characters you don't want, like someone like Darren, to keep on casting spells for your party. The INCITER SKALD goes beyond that because they can also share sneak attack, and they do have normal sneak attack progression as well, something that Skald lacks. And of course, the advanced rogue talents, including stuff like Dispelling Attack, Wearing Strike, Petrifying Strike, and lots of other fun stuff. Plus, their main Skald Rage, which will always be turned on, has built-in debuffing effects through the Insult feature, starting with penalties to attack rolls, later even armor class and will saving throws. This does have a saving throw, which won't really be that high unless you really go all out into charisma, but you can have a decent enough amount by virtue of just being an AZATA Skald. And I imagine some people are curious about it, but the debuff can be removed if the enemy attacks the Skald. It's just that because you have reach with this build, you'll always be protected by a wall of party members, and if the enemy is there, try and attack you, they'll eat attacks of opportunity, they'll just be dead before that. Because Skalds are that good. So you'll be mostly safe from enemy attacks. And of course, as INCITER, you still keep all of the other powerful base Skald features, like bonus combat talents and of course spellcasting. Now let's just do a quick section on how to play your Skald optimally, especially at the early levels. Because of the way the lingering performance feat works, and we'll be getting it as early as possible, your Skald Song, which is the base ability upon which all the others work, including the rage powers, also Insult now, will persist for 2 rounds after you cease performing. Therefore, to maximize your song uses, especially early, before you fight most enemies, activate your song, then immediately turn it off. Once again, because it will still remain in effect, enough for most battles. Then you can of course do the classic charge out of battle and ambush the enemies. Now this is important, if you wanna ambush the enemies with your INCITER SKALD out of battle, remember that because your Skald's rage ability has a built-in debuffing effect, it automatically makes enemies hostile if they are under the area of effect. And you can always check it because it's this big yellow circle around your character. Therefore, ideally, you'll want to move away so that the enemies will not be hit automatically whenever you activate your Skald Song on. This all out of battle, of course. After doing that is when you can just charge with all of your characters, so you can still ambush enemies. Now let's get into our INCITER AZATA SKALD build at last, first with character creation. For race, as always I'll be going with humans, is the one I like the most, but it's not necessary. As an INCITER SKALD, you'll still have bonus feats, which means this character will only be feat starved at the beginning of the game, but starting from level 13 plus, you'll have some free feats to spare, which means human isn't needed. Well, the background is the classic as usual, street urchin and pickpocket, you want as high initiative as possible. For stat allocation, there's two ways you can build this character. My preferred choice is focusing all out into strength, because all of your fun buffing stuff doesn't really require high charisma. This way you'll have the best buffs, and also a lot of damage potential. Followed by 14 dexterity, 14 constitution, you can then dump both intelligence and wisdom for 14 charisma just so you can cast your Scald or Bard spells. But if you prefer a heavier crowd control focus, then go for 19 charisma instead of strength. For skill points, athletics is the way to go, followed by use magic device, and you might as well go for persuasion unless you're planning on having another character cover this for you. For your level 1 feats, lingering performance is the must-have. Besides that, the classic power attack. Scalds are good enough in that you can actually turn power attack on even early, because you have enough bonuses from Inspire Rage and later some other rage powers. But it's mostly here because we need it for the other great feats, Cleave and Cleaving Finish. Now as a Scald you'll also get one bonus spellcasting feat for free at level 1, and there's also two ways this can go. The best one early is Arcane Spirit, a new feat that, well, will reduce the enemy's saving throws whenever you make a persuasion bluff check, and Scalds do have bonuses to their persuasion when bluffing and intimidating from the Serpent's Tongue feature. This can help you hit enemies early with powerful crowd control effects, like Grease and also Hideous Laughter. And it's a swift action, so instantly activated, and you can still attack on the same turn you use it. On the other hand, for the mid and late game, Extend or Heightened Spell are by far the best choices, because with this you can double, even triple the uses of the most powerful AZATA unique spell buff, Believe in Yourself, and you'll want that on as many allies as possible because of how good it is. For your Scald spells, as always I already have a best arcane spells guide you can follow to the side here, so let's keep it short and simple. Grease is of course the MVP early game, even if you won't have high charisma, followed by Cure Light Wounds for a nice amount of healing, which is great early on because you won't have that many alternative sources of healing, yet anyways. For Deity, as we are going AZATA, any that allows the chaotic alignments, Desna is quite fitting. Although for Trickster you can also be chaotic. On some levels you'll have higher skill points if you went with around 8 intelligence. Feel free to put them anywhere you want, including, let's say, Perception. Then either Hideous Laughter or Remove Fear. For level 3 as a feat, because this is when you'll start getting access to rage powers, and you want the best ones as soon as possible, ideally go for extra rage power and Lesser Beast Totem first. This won't do much for most characters, but can really increase the power of pets, especially the dog and the wolf, because it triples their attacks. They start with 1 bite, and now they also have 2 claws, even early, which is of course amazing, as they are already the best pets in the game anyways. And for the other party members, this is still a prerequisite for the remaining Beast Totem powers, which are great for the rest of the party. Followed by Lethal Stance, the best Scald Rage power for the highest attack rolls possible party-wide. So just at level 3 you'll already have both. Then go for Remove Fear. At level 4, increase either strength or charisma depending on if you want more melee power or more crowd control power. I prefer strength. Anyways, for our level 4 bonus Scald talent, Combat Streak and Cleave for the second attack, which is especially good with reach weapons, and ideally early in the game you wanna go with glaives. For the first level 2 spells, Heroism and then either Glitter Dust for more crowd control or Blur for more buffing. For level 5 it's time to get Cleaving Finish at last for our third potential attack. Then let's pick Glitter Dust or Mirror Image. For level 6 as our second rage power, the normal Beast Totem, which increases the armor class of all party members by a stacking natural amount, so stacks of course with stuff like the Bark Skin buff, followed by the Mirror Image spell. For level 7 you already know where I'm going, but it's time for the highly powerful Outflank. Then Unbreakable Heart to remove confusion on demand. We also get access to level 3 spells, which are absolutely amazing for a Skald or Bard, as this is when you get Good Hope, an amazing party-wide buff, and the ever so OP Haste. Then you might as well grab a new spell added by the last DLC, Reviving Finale. It's cast as a swift action and can help you heal characters right as they're about to die. This is also when you start sharing sneak attack with your allies, which is amazing. And for a level 9 feat, the classic lunge for even higher reach, which of course makes you safe from enemies' attacks. Followed by Combat Trick and my preferred weapon for this character, starting from this point, so chapter 2 onwards, is actually Fauchards, because they have the best critical range and the best reach in the same weapon type. This way you'll be stacking reach from lunge, Fauchards, and also size enhancing spells. As to why only pick Fauchards now, well, glaives are much better early game. Also, it's only at level 11 that you can get improved critical as a feat, which is what Fauchards excel at anyways. Any other level 3 spell, might as well pick Displacement. Oh, and of course you don't have to go with Fauchards, you can also go with Falchions, which don't require an extra feat. For another level 2 spell at level 10, Sense Vitals for even higher sneak attack, which does stack with the normal one you get from Skald Progression as Inciter. Then Echolocation and Freedom of Movement as level 4 buffs. For level 11, improved critical into your weapon of choice, Fauchards for me. Any other level 1 spell, and greater invisibility. And for level 12, greater Beast Totem at last, to share the highly OP Pounce feature with all party members for full attacking and charging on the same action. It even increases the critical damage of your claws, which is nice for, once again, the dog and the wolf pets. Followed by the Dimension Door spell to access some secret chapter 4 areas. From level 13 onwards, your feat selection is up to you, for most of them anyways. Something I like doing is grabbing either Improved Initiative or Armor Focus into Medium Armor for Mythic Armor Focus Assault, which increases your damage with all attacks. And you already have ways of making it irresistible now through the Bane of Spirit Ring. You can also go for Great Cleave to qualify you for improved cleaving finish. Even something like Combat Reflexes can work, but you can already have around 4 attacks of opportunity even without it. I'll be picking Armor Focus into Medium Armor, but I've already provided you with other options. And any other level 3 spell, might as well go for Remove Curse. For the first level 5 spells, definitely Greater Heroism. Heaven's Wing Strike, a new spell, can be picked if you went all out on Charisma, otherwise just Greater Dispel Magic. Then for the level 14 Skald Talent, this is when you start getting the advanced rogue talents as Inciter, and there's 3 of them that really stand out. The first is Dispelling Attack, which essentially lets you attempt a Dispel Magic check to dispel 1 effect from the enemy whenever you attack them, with a sneak attack, which is always because of how easy it is to flank enemies in this game. The caster level will be equal to your character's level, but amusingly enough, you can increase it through some gear buffs like the Robe of the 7 Sins. Also, your main character will be the one treated as, let's say, the caster, even when your allies are attacking because you share the feat with them. This is of great help against the toughest enemies in the game, because they are only powerful because they come pre-buffed with a lot of great effects. So if you dispel them, you'll have a much easier time destroying them. I know a lot of people don't like this talent because usually you require quite high caster level to dispel the toughest enemies, but as an Inciter Skald, remember you'll be sharing Dispelling Attack with your entire party, including pets and summons. So the attacks of everyone will be attempting to dispel the enemy on every single hit. The odds are definitely in your favor. Well, if you don't care for it, you can also go for Wearing Strike, which drains the constitution of enemies by 1 point for every attack. Also amazing because it does reduce their hit points as you attack them. Some bosses are immune to ability damage, however, but it's mostly only the late game bosses. Lastly, you also have the new Petrifying Strike, which is the same but drains 2 points of dexterity. But anyways, my preferred pick now is Dispelling Attack. Any other spell now, followed by anything else as well as level 5. Mass Cacophonous Call can work if you went with the Charisma heavy path. Then for level 15, it's time to get Improved Initiative, followed by any other spell. The same for level 4 spells, and for the first level 6 spells, they aren't actually that good for a Skald, but Overwhelming Presence can help if you went with high Charisma, and Mass Cat's Grace, because clerics don't tend to get this. Now, your level 17 feat specifically is very important. The other ones past 13 can be anything you want, as I said, but this one has to be extra rage power and deadly accuracy, so we can qualify for the highly powerful lethal accuracy at the next level. And honestly, you can just pick whatever spells now. Then at level 18, as our last natural rage power, as I said before, lethal accuracy. Quite unique because it increases the critical damage multiplier of all allies, something no other class or character in the game can do. At least not this way. For our level 19 feat, we'll actually pick something unique, a new feat called Raging Brutality. Whenever you are raging, which is always, because it works based on the Skald Rage song, and using the power attack feat as a swift action, you can add your constitution bonus on damage rolls for all melee attacks. This character will have around 20 plus constitution bonus at this point, so it's great for extra damage. Sadly, I do think the secondary part of increasing your damage by 1.5, your constitution mod, if you're equipped with two-handed weapons, which you will be, I think it's bugged. But even then, you're still getting what, 20-23 extra damage per strike. It's a swift action which does not clash with your song because once again, ideally, you wanna activate the song before battle starts. And for the last Skald talent, you might as well go with Wearing Strike, and you can of course pick it instead of Dispelling Attack or switch their order. And we are remaining a pure Skald because the hit and nerf capstone is really good. Now let's get into Mythic Progression for our INCITER SKALD. For the first ascension, if you're going with reach weapons, do not pick close to the abyss, because they won't work together. Bit of fun won't matter for this character because you aren't really a skill monkey. Ideally close to the heavens for healing, or most importantly, Instrument of Freedom to buff allies with holy damage. Considering we are going AZATA and this is the AZATA specific thematic first ascension, might as well go with it. And for Mythic level 1, while you could already pick Mythic Inspiration, this is only a +1 bonus at the start, it's not that needed. I'd much rather go for Abundant Casting. As I mentioned before, Skalds have absolutely amazing low-level spells for buffing, especially level 2 and 3 ones. So the more casts you have, the better, especially early. Then for Mythic level 2, go for extra Mythic ability, we don't really need a Mythic feat so early, and Mythic Inspiration at last. For Mythic level 3, the classic, Ever Ready, always a must-have. Mythic level 4 is our first true Mythic feat, and it's time for Mythic Critical into 4 shards or your weapon of choice, ideally high critical range weapons like falchions. And for our first AZATA superpower as a more melee-focused INCITER SKALD, well, it's all about Incredible Might. Whenever you score a critical hit or hit the enemies with a charge attack, great both ways because you have pounce to combine with charge and you have high critical range weapons, the enemies have to make a saving throw, which is tied to your strength, another reason I like increasing it, or suffer from multiple debilitating effects, stunned, prone, pushed and stunned. Crippled with less attack and AC, even instantly killed, the effects are really good. This also has a secondary effect, as you'll gain a huge morale bonus to both attack and damage, which scales based on Mythic rank. At Mythic 10, it's even +20 to both attack and damage, when combined with a certain ring. If you went with a more caster, crowd control heavy Skald, however, pick Favorable Magic now, and you should also pick the best jokes Mythic ability at Mythic 1. But for melee, definitely Incredible Might. For Mythic level 5, it's time for Mythic Charge. As I said, the Skald can provide the pounce feature for everyone, including themselves. Then for Mythic level 6, either Mythic Power Attack or Mythic Medium Armor Focus into Assault. For the second superpower, go with CP Magic, regardless of high charisma and crowd control, or high strength and more melee power. Because this also lets your buffs change to a nearby ally, and you do want the Believe in Yourself buff hitting multiple allies at once, because it's that good. And don't forget to pick the Greater Animal Aspect spell now as an AZATA, because you'll need it for the next Mythic ranks. So for Mythic level 7, it's time to pick Master Shapeshifter to highly increase all of your physical scores, something AZATAs already excel at. This is why we just picked Greater Animal Aspect, because it's classified as Polymorph, so you'll proc this on yourself. Well, to be fair, you can also pick it right at Mythic 7 if you prefer. Then for Mythic level 8, either Mythic Initiative, Mythic Armor Assault as medium armor, or Mythic Power Attack, depending on what you picked before. For the third AZATA superpower, well, you might as well go for Life Bonding Friendship now, as at this point you'll have enormous charisma anyways, even by just starting with 14. And ideally Precise Strike for extra party member damage. Or Shake It Off for higher saving throws, but you'll get both. Mythic level 9 can be anything you want, you might as well pick Last Stand now just to be safe. Even Improved Abundant Casting can work, but your level 4, 5 and 6 spells aren't as good as the lower ones. Then Shake It Off for Life Bonding Friendship. Lastly, for Mythic 10, one of the Mythic feats I mentioned before, for me, Mythic Initiative. The last superpower can be anything, but you might as well pick Marvelous Endurance now. The regeneration at least can be nice, it's just not really that necessary at this point. Now let us cover gear for our INCITER SKALD AZATA. For the amulet, as always, Velexis is the best option, as you really want the highest strength possible. But something like Voracious Spirit can also work. For armor, the new best one is Life Infuser, because nothing else will provide as high strength and constitution bonuses for the best attack rolls, damage and HP. Before you can really go with anything, because AC doesn't matter, you have reach, stacked with multiple sources even. Or of course Ivo the Dragon Companion to tank for you, or the rest of your party. But the Chainmail of Camaraderie is always a nice choice earlier. For shirts, the Robe of the Seven Sins to increase your caster level, which does matter a lot because remember, the AZATA's special Believe in Yourself unique buff scales based on caster level and can go above level 20 even. For belts, the Belt of the Last of the First Humans for the amazing bonuses, especially to damage and attack rolls. But early just belts of strength. For gloves, Fencer's Gift, because they do increase the power of two-handed weapons. For boots, we have Stampede, for higher damage on charging and Skull's Scan Charge and Full Attack because of the Pounce feature. Or 1x Sacrifice, but it's better spent on dexterity-based characters. Then for helmets, you have a few options. Bitter End is fun, but honestly this character has enough bonuses to attack rolls as is, even without some stuff like Cleric Domain powers, by virtue of the Skald buffs and then the AZATA buffs for amazing strength, for example. You can use the Windmaster helmet for higher initiative, and earlier be sure to go with the Hat of Heartening Song, as it also regenerates the whole party whenever your Rage Skald song is on, which is always. For glasses you have a few options, Broken Trickster as usual, or the Goggles of Piercing Gaze, even Resmir's Mask, but it's better left for full spellcasters. For cloaks, just any Cloak of Resistance with the highest modifier, ultimately the Grand Festival Cloak. The AZATA Special Mythic Cloak is rather poor, so I wouldn't bother with it. Then for rings, Triumphant Advance is as always the best, but especially for AZATAs because the Believe in Yourself buff increases your stats by morale, all of them, which of course is doubled, so now we have plus 12 to all stats potentially. Besides that, just Imminent Demise for the extra damage with two-handed weapons, but you can also go with Evasion to avoid spells, or Guiding Star for the great bonus to initiative and also damage. And well, bracers as always, the Bracers of Slaughter, the new best bracers because of the absurd extra damage on all strikes. Earlier you can just, well, keep to the lucky bracers you start the game with. Now let's cover weapons and consumables. I decided to go with Fauchards for reach and the best criticals. Honestly, the best Fauchard to me is the Mighty Blow of Good, which you can get at chapter 3 by buying it from the exotic weapons provider Merchant. It already has Evil Outsider Bane, which is great because you don't have to cast Crusader's Edge on it. And if you are good aligned, you even get an extra untyped bonus to damage against evil creatures. Even neutral ones, so everything that matters in the game. But from chapter 4 onwards, you can also go with the Bearer of Sorrow. It's a cruel, vicious Fauchard, so has higher damage. But I kinda hate the fact that Vicious also deals damage to yourself, unless you are, let's say, a Lich, or some other class that could constantly regenerate hit points. AZATA can throw a superpower if you want. Also, the property of 1 extra attack for every 5th hit, I don't see it happening that much, because by the point you get it, battles will be over in 1 round, 2 rounds at the most. And of course you can always use Finian, but I freed him for my AZATA run at the end. Oh, and don't forget the new Sin Mage staff to combine with the Sin Mage robe for even higher caster level on your AZATA buffs. As far as Quickslots, the classic signet to increase any skill, Jarsigax for even higher damage, Extend and Lesser Extend Metamagic Rods for your buffs, both Skald and AZATA ones, the old Grimoire because, like I said, Skalds excel at low level buffs, and with this you'll have even higher than 10 plus casts, and just the lucky dice. Oh, and you can also have a Dinosaur companion to combine with Ivo, because Skalds aren't really a pet class by default. Well, alright friends, so this was it for our INCITER SKALD AZATA build. If you found it useful, as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I highly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, friends.